Hare Krishna, everybody. Hare Krishna. So, before we take prashadam, we have a very special guest, if you haven't noticed by now, who has traveled very, very far to be here with us. His name is Rasik Mohan Prabhu. He has been a celibate monk since the age of 10 years old, and he spent most of his life, almost 16 years, living in Vrindavan, India, the birthplace of Lord Krishna. And he only recently came back to the Western world because he received instructions to begin an ashram in upstate New York. So please, let's give a big, he's going to speak a few words for us about Radha and Krishna, about the Maha Mantra, all kinds of transcendental things. So please, we can all just keep silent and give him our respectful attention for the next 20 minutes. So let's please all give a big, warm Maui Sangha, Hari Bol to Rasik Mohan Prabhu. Hari Bol!
So grateful to be here amongst you all in this very beautiful temple of peace. So amazingly beautiful temple, and I have so much gratitude and owe a great debt to His Grace Kedar Prabhu, who's an amazing leader here, and to all the devotees for so many years, and also to all the devotees here serving the temple and keeping it as a very beautiful, you could say, transcendental light for everyone to come to and get some of that light of the Lord's grace. So I'm just going to share a few words here for those who were here last week, kind of continuing forward, but I want to give you what I would say 5 extremely helpful tools for your spiritual life, for your advancement in your spiritual life. So we'll cover those in the next 15 minutes or so. So for myself personally, and I believe for many spiritual organizations or spiritual leaders, our goal is to help you in your spiritual journey, to help you advance, to help you reach, you could say, enlightenment, transcendence, self-actualization, your highest potential. So therefore, our teachers have also given us techniques that we have practiced. Myself as a monk, I've practiced this my whole life, growing up as a devotee of Krishna. And these are 5 essential teachings given to us by one of our greatest saints. His name is Srila Rupa Goswami, one of our original preceptors in this lineage. But just before I get into that, I'd like to say that what we were just doing here together, that's the most important one. So you're already doing it. It's called Nam Sankirtan, so that's why I'm kind of sweating, because I was here jumping around with you and singing. So it's called Sankirtan. It means chanting together, not just any ordinary words, but words of the divinity. For us, the names of God, Sri Radha, Sri Krishna, and there are different names relating to their pastimes. So this is called Sankirtan, dancing together and singing these spiritual names. This is the best spiritual practice for this age. It's so really, we're all so lucky to be here together, without all the long monologues. If you want to know the essence, come together once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week, 7 days a week, as much as you can at home, together here. Try to do this process of kirtan. That's the ultimate essence of it all. I just want to offer my obeisance to my Guru Maharaj, who I was so fortunate to meet when I was 9 years old, and it was by his instruction that I became a monk when I was, I didn't officially, you could say, start my ministry. At that young age, I was still kind of figuring out my life, being in of a young age, but by his continued request, I took up that path as a teenager and lived in India for so many years. So to my Srila Gurudev, Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, I offer my obeisance, and to Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who really preached this message throughout the Western world, I offer my obeisance. And to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Golden Avatar, I offer my obeisance. And to all of you, I offer my obeisance. Hare Krishna. So the first tip was what I just said. Kirtan. It's very important. There's a verse in one of our holiest scriptures, the Bhagavad Puran, that says, in this age, there are many faults, you know, as in all times, but especially now we can see it's difficult to practice. There's so many distractions in the world. But the great redeeming quality is this kirtan, chanting together. And just by doing this, we can achieve salvation. We can achieve enlightenment. So really, this is very important. But the second thing that I would say is vital, along with that, is what we call sadhu sangha, good association, good company. Good company means people that uplift you, people that bring you to a higher frequency, you could say, bring you to a higher state of consciousness. And so trying to be around those people that uplift you more than you're around people that bring you down, I would say. So ultimately, trying to be around good people, especially what we call sadhu sangha, which means people who are, there's three things to be what you would classify as really good association. Three things that help you understand what is good association. Someone who is more advanced than you and is helping you advance. Because we talk about our mission being, for me personally, my mission is to help you on your spiritual journey. So how do I do that? I have to myself be advancing, or in the association of someone very advanced and helping you advance. So you should try to take the association of those who are more advanced than you and who have your best interest at heart and want to help you advance. Therefore we say, try to follow the path of the great ones. In Sanskrit we say, Mahajano Jena Gata Sapanta. Try to follow the path of those great personalities who've come before you or who are present among you, who can help you advance towards that path of ultimate enlightenment. So that's one of the qualities of good company. They're advanced, or they're helping you advance. The second quality is that they should have a similar aspiration for you. In spiritual life, it's very important to identify a goal. What do you want? If you don't know what you want, how are you ever going to get it? So try to find someone who has a goal that you also aspire for, and they're more advanced, so they can help you, give you that wisdom by which you can also advance. They can kind of lead you along, hold your hand and tell you, oh, watch out for this obstacle, and go around that, and look out for this kind of thing. So good association that's more advanced, that helps you advance, and that has a similar goal as you. And then someone that's affectionate to you, meaning their only interest in helping you is because they want your best, the best for you. They're affectionate towards you. They're compassionate. They're kind. What does it mean to be kind? When someone is helping you, they're not doing it for their own reward, for their own gain. They sincerely want your own best interest. So that's the three things about good company. Try to find those people and be around those kind of people. That's what I would say is our second tip. Try to be in good company. And we also say that to clarify, what does it mean to associate? So we want to be in the company of people who are more advanced, helping us advance, who have a similar goal as us, a similar mood as us, and who are kind to us, affectionate to us. But what does it mean to associate? So our Rupa Goswami also taught us that. He said to associate doesn't mean like anybody you talk to, anybody you work with, anybody you meet. To really associate means to develop a connection through the exchanges of love. And there's 6 exchanges of love. It means to give and share of gifts, to speak intimately with one another about your heart, about your spiritual practice, and to share food with one another. It's a very simple thing. But to actually sit down with each other, to share a meal with each other, to reveal your heart to one another, to inquire about your spiritual life, and for them to ask you, how are you doing? This is one of our fundamental things we do in our ashram and in our mission. With all the residents of the ashram, as well as with all the congregation, as well as with anyone who wants to be part of our thing, how are you doing in your spiritual life? Are you making advancement? Are you following your own practice? Are you following any kind of discipline? It's one thing that's important. We say, discipline leads to freedom. So if we say, no, I don't want to be disciplined, but you're conditioned. I'm free, you may say, but we're conditioned, really. So spiritual discipline leads to spiritual freedom. So good association helps you in that way to develop a certain kind of spiritual practice and discipline. But to develop association means to reciprocate in a loving exchange with them. Simple things. Sitting down with each other, revealing your heart, sharing a meal, giving a gift, receiving a gift. This is very important. So that was the second kind of technique, I would say, to advance in your spiritual life. Good company. Within good company, those things I said about good company, and how to have a loving exchange with them. The next thing I would recommend, the third technique for advancing in spiritual life is called how you engage your sense of hearing in things that are also spiritually beneficial to you. You know, our ears, especially in our eyes, are always soaking up information, especially these days. Podcasts, videos, social media, we're soaking in information, especially by our ears and by our eyes. And so especially we should try to regulate what we're absorbing, because if we bring external toxic environment inside, then inside we become toxified. Then we need some kind of toxic cleansing, right? So if you want to be healthy and wealthy and wise, then learn to regulate your internal environment by controlling what you allow in. So that's why we say listen to what we call Shravan, hearing things that help you develop your consciousness. So generally we talk about this as like some kind of spiritual talks or anything about, you know, consciousness, blossoming of divine consciousness, and trying to minimize things that are really in the mode of tamas, what we call the mode of ignorance, really kind of bringing you down, you know. So that's really important technique, I would say. That's what we're doing here. This is called a satsang. Satsang means these three things are there: the kirtan, singing together and dancing; the talk, the bhakti talk, talking about things that we're encouraging you here to grow in your spiritual life, to evolve, to achieve your highest potential. We're encouraging that. So listen to things that are encouraging you to evolve to your highest potential. Whatever path you may be following, strive towards that. And listen to people who are encouraging you, inspiring you towards that. That's called Shravan. So that's very important. If you're always around people that are just bringing you down and belittling you, then how's that going to help you? Listen to people who are encouraging you and who are showing you, guiding you towards your highest, you could say, your highest potential. So that was the third thing. All right, the fourth. Try to stay in an atmosphere or an environment that is spiritually positive. There's three modes, you know, in yoga understanding, there's three modes of nature: ignorance, passion, and goodness. Sattvas, rajas, tamas. But there's a higher one. It's called the transcendental quality, or nirgun. So ultimately try to stay some time of your life, you know, if it's once a week or you go on some kind of pilgrimage, try to stay in a place or an environment that is in the mode of transcendent of life. It's called nirgun, tattva. So that's what a temple is meant to be. That's what a temple is. It's a nirgun place, because all of these activities that are nirgun by definition are happening there. So that's why we say dham, a holy place. So in our life, we try to travel to the holy places. We do pilgrimages. But that's why our teachers established these holy places in all our different states and countries, because that gives people a chance to come to a holy place and to advance. So that's the fourth important thing. And you can do that in your own home by having things that, you know, give you spiritual encouragement, upliftment, pictures, books, you know, simple things like DVDs or pictures. Try to create a temple. That's the basic essence of it. You can have a temple in your home. You can have a temple that you go to. Ultimately, we want to bring the temple inside. Temple means a clean, pure place that you perform some kind of worship, devotion, bhakti yoga. So try to have some kind of temple environment. Don't think the temple only has to be some place you go to. It can be in your home, it can be in your heart, but it helps to go to a place that is already established as like a temple, because that helps encourage you to bring it within more powerfully. And so the last technique that I would recommend is something that is not necessarily, not everyone is teaching this, but for us in the path of Bhakti Yoga, it's very important. It's called Shraddhaya Shri Murtir Sevan. With faith, try to develop a connection to God in his personal feature. That's particular to our path of Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is the path of loving devotion and relationship to God and his personal feature. For us as Sri Radha and Sri Krishna, the divine couple, the masculine and the feminine God, what we call the divine moieties, the two inseparable halves, God and the goddess, in the transcendental realm. And so the fifth thing for us in the path of Bhakti Yoga is to try to develop a relationship with them through loving service with faith. Faith is very important, but faith shouldn't be blind. Faith should be what we call transcendental faith, actually comes through transcendental knowledge. And therefore there's a long process. You approach a spiritual teacher, you take shelter of them, they start to guide you, and then faith can become strengthened. So for us, we say worship the form of the Lord. Now people say, how can God have a form? But in our scriptures, it's very clearly reiterated again and again. Like we say, don't limit God to the limitless. He can also have a form, and he chooses that, just as we all have forms. We say that we should not think that God is lesser than us. We can have a form, but God can't. He can also have. But that form is transcendental. Therefore, it's described in our scriptures. Satchid Ananda Vigraha. That transcendental form is the embodiment of eternal existence, divine consciousness, and ecstatic bliss. Satchidananda. How do we perceive that form? We may say, oh, it's inconceivable. I can't believe in what I can't see. I can't believe in what I can't see. But there's a beautiful verse, how to see God. If anyone want to know how to see God?
Haribo.
Yeah. Anyone want to know how to see God?
Haribo!
So there's a beautiful verse. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena shanta shadaiva hridayeshu vilokayanti yang shama sundaram achintya guna swarupam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. All our scriptures talk about the beauty of God, the form of God. In the Bible it says, God made man in his own image. In the Quran it says, Inala kalakame suratihi. Essentially, God made man in his own image. And the Vedic scriptures talk about Shamat Prabhade Shavala Prabhade. By worshipping that beautiful Sham, you yourself will achieve his eternal abode. And yourself will achieve an eternally blissful form. So this is the personal path called Bhakti Yoga. And how to see God? Those who have love for him, he reveals himself to them. Therefore, Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti, those who have love for him, what are called the devotees, real devotees, pure devotees, they always see him in their heart. Hridayeshu, in the heart. And if you take shelter of those devotees and serve them, Krishna says, become the devotee of my devotee. If you are my devotee, you are not really my devotee. If you are the devotee of my devotee, then you are really my devotee. So take shelter of those devotees of the Lord the Lord is always in their heart. They're always having that internal darshan. Darshan means that internal audience with the Lord. They're always seeing him. Then by their grace, what they can do is they give that salve of divine love, premanjana, on your eyes. Premanjana churita bhakti vilochanena. Those who have that pure love, when they are satisfied with your devotion and your earnest endeavor, they can awaken that devotion within your own heart and give that salve of love upon your eyes. This is spoken by the creator Brahma, first son of God. He said, Premanjana churita. By that salve of love coming upon your eyes, then you can truly see, as if for the first time, you can see your beloved Lord, and then you can also learn to see your own true identity, your own spiritual identity. For us in that path of bhakti, this path of bhakti, we understand that we all have a spiritual identity waiting to be realized, waiting to evolve into, you could say. And we all have a Satchidananda form, you could say, that we're waiting to realize. And so that's why we're going on this spiritual journey. And so the journey of self-realization is not to realize we don't have a self. It's to realize what is beyond the false self and what is the real self. Self-realization doesn't mean, oh, I finally realized that I don't have a self. No. Beyond the false ego, there's the pure state of divine consciousness. And that pure state of divine consciousness, for the sake of, not to limit it to form, but for the sake of experiencing the exchanges of love, God also gives us form. Because without that form, we cannot have what is called lila. Lila means divine play. So if anyone wants to enter the Lord's divine play, lila, you also need to be awarded with your own spiritual form. And you need to be able to realize his spiritual form. And so that is why we're following his path. So those are 5 things I would recommend to try to incorporate in your daily life or in some part of your life, if you so desire. And thank you so much for this opportunity to be here amongst you. And I'm feeling very honored and blissful. So thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Panchakalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhyo pritanang pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo. And last of all, take Mahaprasad. Haribo. It's extra credit.
We can if you want to ask some questions, we can ask some questions in the Prashad Hall. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you going to stay, Prabhu?
Yes.
Okay, and so he'll be available for questions while we're taking Prashad.